There's a silent signal that many people miss. It doesn't announce itself with loud alarms, but rather through small whispers in the body, fatigue that lingers, swelling around the ankles, or a lab test that comes back with a number just a little higher than before. That number is creatinine, and when it climbs, it means your kidneys may be calling for help. Most people think kidneys fail suddenly, but the truth is, trouble brews quietly over years, and diet plays a far bigger role than most realize. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors. For more than 3 decades, I've walked alongside older adults determined to hold on to their independence, and I've seen both the heartbreak and the hope of kidney disease. Today, I'll reveal 3 fruits that can protect and strengthen your kidneys, and 3 that seem harmless, but may be quietly pushing them toward danger. When my patient Margaret first sat across from me, she was exhausted. At 67, she loved her grandchildren but found herself too tired to play with them, too puffy in her ankles to go on long walks. Her lab slip showed what I suspected. Her creatinine had crept higher, an early warning that her kidneys were struggling. Margaret was stunned. She thought she was eating healthy, a mix of fruits and salads, plenty of water. But what she didn't know is that not all fruits are equal when your kidneys are under strain. Some are allies, and some, despite their good reputation, can quietly become enemies. Let's begin with the allies, the fruits that can become daily friends in the fight to protect kidney health. Cranberries are one of those unlikely heroes. Most of us only think of them around Thanksgiving, paired with turkey. But these tart little berries hold an impressive secret. They contain compounds called proanthocyanidins, which are like microscopic shields that prevent bacteria from clinging to the walls of your urinary tract. That matters because once bacteria stick, they can march upward and infect the kidneys, adding more stress to already overworked organs. Imagine cranberries as tiny security guards, blocking invaders before they cause trouble. A study in the journal Phytomedicine found that cranberry extract reduced urinary tract infections in women and in patients with early kidney disease. Fewer infections mean fewer setbacks. Just as important, cranberries are naturally low in potassium, with only about 85 milligrams per cup, making them a safe choice even for those told to watch potassium closely. But the form you choose is critical. Pure, unsweetened juice, diluted in water, can be a gentle daily habit. Unsweetened dried cranberries are fine too, in small handfuls. What to avoid? The so-called cranberry cocktails at the grocery store. Those are often more sugar than berry, a wolf in sheep's clothing that strains the kidneys instead of protecting them. Apples are another underestimated champion. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. May sound cliche, but in kidney care, it rings truer than most realize. Apples contain a soluble fiber called pectin, which acts like a sponge in your digestive system. Picture it soaking up toxins, cholesterol, and heavy metals, then escorting them out of the body before your kidneys have to deal with them. That means less waste filtering, less stress, and more breathing room for your kidneys. A small apple has about 195 milligrams of potassium, still considered low and generally safe. What fascinates me most, though, is a compound called floritin. Researchers at the University of Reading in the UK discovered it can reduce oxidative stress inside kidney tissue itself. Oxidative stress is like rust forming on the body's inner machinery, and apples help polish some of that rust away. Margaret, the patient I mentioned earlier, began boiling sliced apples with a sprinkle of cinnamon to make a soothing tea. Not only did it comfort her in the evenings, it became her ritual, a small act of care she looked forward to daily. Over months, her lab stabilized, and she found energy again for those grandchild playdates. The key, however, is to be smart about apples. Peel them if phosphorus is a concern. Choose organic to avoid pesticide residues, and skip the juice or chips, which strip away fiber and add sugars that can sabotage your progress. Then there are limes, the unsung citrus of the kidney world. Bright, tart, refreshing, limes contain citric acid, which acts almost like a locksmith inside your urine. It binds to calcium, preventing it from clumping into stones that can block or damage the urinary tract. For many people with kidney disease, the threat of stones adds another layer of suffering, and limes help keep that door closed. Limes are also alkaline forming, nudging the body's chemistry toward balance. And their limonoids, plant compounds with antioxidant power, work at the cellular level, calming inflammation and improving waste metabolism. One small lime carries only 68 milligrams of potassium, a reassuringly low amount. Squeezing half a lime into a glass of water before meals is a simple yet powerful practice. Some of my patients keep a small bowl of limes on their kitchen counter, not just as a reminder to use them, but as a symbol of the small, bright choices that add up over time. The warning here is moderation. Too much concentrated lime juice can erode tooth enamel or irritate the stomach. Bottled lime juice, with its preservatives and additives, doesn't deliver the same benefit as the real fruit. Fresh and simple is the golden rule. Together, cranberries, apples, and limes represent what I call the gentle protectors of kidney health. They don't overload the body with potassium, they provide antioxidants and fiber, and they bring practical benefits like lowering infection risk, easing the toxin load, and preventing stones. What I've seen over decades is that when seniors consistently make space for these fruits, they feel lighter, clearer, and more in control of their health journey. It's not about finding one miracle food, it's about inviting the right partners to walk with you each day. Now that we've celebrated the fruits that can stand guard at your kidney's side, we need to face a more uncomfortable truth. Not every healthy fruit is safe when creatinine is high. In fact, some of the very foods marketed as superfoods can quietly become villains for someone living with kidney disease. It's like walking through a garden where some flowers heal and others poison. At a glance, they look equally beautiful, but the effects inside your body couldn't be more different. Over the years, I've seen well-meaning patients unintentionally make their kidney problems worse simply because they didn't know which fruits were working against them. Let me walk you through three of the most common culprits. The first is avocado. Everywhere you look, avocado is celebrated as a heart-healthy, nutrient-rich powerhouse. Smooth, creamy, versatile, it shows up on toast, in salads, blended into smoothies. But here's the hidden danger. Avocados are extremely high in potassium. Just half an avocado contains over 350 milligrams, which for someone with chronic kidney disease can push potassium levels beyond what the body can handle. When potassium rises in the bloodstream, it's not just a lab number. It directly affects the heart's electrical system. I've had patients end up in the hospital with irregular rhythms, muscle weakness, or even dangerous arrhythmias simply because they thought an avocado snack was harmless. And the trouble is, avocado often travels with other offenders. Think about avocado toast sprinkled with cheese and salt, or guacamole paired with salty chips. Suddenly you have a meal that combines high potassium with high sodium, a double blow to the kidneys. Even store-bought guacamole often hides potassium-based preservatives, adding insult to injury. For most of my patients, the best advice is simple and clear. Admire avocados for what they can do for others, but keep them off your plate if your kidneys are under strain. The second fruit that sneaks under the radar is the grape. At first glance, grapes seem innocent, small, juicy, easy to snack on. They contain antioxidants, yes, but they also pack a surprising amount of natural sugar and potassium. A single cup of grapes delivers nearly 300 milligrams of potassium. And let's be honest, who stops at just a handful? People munch them by the dozen, sometimes by the bowlful. That flood of sugar spikes blood glucose, leading to more metabolic waste that your kidneys have to process. I remember a patient named Harold, 72 years old, who swore he ate light because he often replaced cookies with grapes. Yet his creatinine crept steadily upward, and his potassium labs looked concerning. When we dug deeper, he was eating 2 or 3 cups of grapes in one sitting, unwittingly giving his kidneys more work than they could handle. And it doesn't stop there. Grape juice, stripped of fiber and concentrated with sugar, hits the body like a freight train. Raisins are even worse. The drying process compresses all that sugar and potassium into small bites, so a handful of raisins can be like eating a bowl of grapes in disguise. And then there's wine. While a glass now and then is often romanticized as heart healthy, in kidney disease, the alcohol and residual potassium become a heavy burden. Grapes aren't forbidden forever, but they must be treated like guests you invite only occasionally, in the smallest of portions, never the main act of the meal. The last fruit is perhaps the most dangerous of all, and the one most people have never been warned about. Star fruit. It's beautiful, shaped like a golden star when sliced, often used as decoration at buffet or tucked into tropical drinks. But inside this fruit lies a neurotoxin called caramboxin. Healthy kidneys can filter it out. But in kidney disease, even mild impairment, caramboxin lingers in the bloodstream. The results can be catastrophic. Documented cases show patients experiencing relentless hiccups, confusion, vomiting, seizures, even slipping into coma after consuming nothing more than a glass of starfruit juice. One of my most sobering moments as a physician came when I traced a patient's sudden decline to a harmless-looking tea blend that, unbeknownst to her, contained dried starfruit pieces. She thought she was drinking something cleansing, but it nearly pushed her into dialysis. Unlike grapes or avocados, where moderation may sometimes be possible, starfruit is in a category of its own. For anyone with kidney disease, there is no safe amount. The only true protection is total avoidance in all its forms: fresh, dried, juiced, powdered, or hidden in blends. The tragedy of these fruits is that they wear disguises of health. Avocados are praised in magazines, grapes are marketed as nature's candy, starfruit dazzles the eye with its exotic charm. But for the kidneys, they can be saboteurs. Once patients understand this, the relief on their faces is palpable. They finally see why their labs weren't improving, despite their best efforts. Knowledge becomes power. Choosing wisely isn't about restriction, it's about liberation, freeing the kidneys from unnecessary burdens so that energy can return, swelling can ease, and life can be lived with more strength and less fear. There's one more truth I want to share, and it may surprise you. Protecting your kidneys is not only about what you eat, it's also about how you care for your body day to day, in small, practical rituals that can either ease or strain the kidney's workload. Think of your kidneys as diligent workers on an assembly line. They never take a day off. Every ounce of fluid, every bite of food, every medication you take passes across their conveyor belt. The question is, are we handing them neat, manageable packages, or are we overwhelming them with chaos? Two simple habits can make all the difference, and they're often overlooked: hydration and Epsom salt foot soaks. Let's start with hydration. Water is the most underestimated medicine in the world, and yet the way we drink it matters as much as how much we drink. Many of my patients tell me proudly, "Don't worry, doc, I drink a whole jug of water in the morning," as if hydration were a race. But chugging large amounts all at once can dilute sodium levels dangerously, a condition called hyponatremia. It's like flooding an engine with too much fuel at once. Instead of running smoothly, it sputters and stalls. The kidneys thrive on steadiness. Imagine giving those workers on the assembly line a steady flow of packages throughout the day, rather than dumping a mountain on them once or twice. The ideal approach is to sip consistently, small amounts every hour, adding up to roughly 30 to 35 milliliters per kilogram of body weight across the day, adjusted, of course, for what your physician recommends. I think of one of my patients, Maria, a retired teacher in her late 60s. She used to wait until evening to drink most of her water, believing she was catching up. But this left her nights disrupted by constant bathroom trips, her days marked by headaches and fatigue. When we shifted her pattern, encouraging her to keep a glass nearby and sip steadily from morning to night, she noticed the difference within a week. Her energy rose, her swelling lessened, and her labs began to stabilize. For many older adults, even something as simple as setting a timer on your phone or using a water bottle with hourly markings can transform hydration from an afterthought into a healing rhythm. Combine this with light movement, like gentle stretching or a short walk, and the improved circulation helps water reach every tissue more effectively, supporting both the kidneys and the heart. Now let's talk about something more unusual: Epsom salt foot soaks. To some, it sounds like an old folk remedy, but science has begun to recognize the role of magnesium, the mineral found in Epsom salts, in supporting relaxation, circulation, and muscle health. Soaking your feet in warm water with a cup of pure, fragrance-free Epsom salt allows magnesium to be absorbed gently through the skin. It's not a substitute for medical treatment, of course, but it can be a quiet ally. Many of my patients have told me that a 20-minute foot soak in the evening not only eases cramps and fatigue, but also gives them a sense of calm that lowers blood pressure and stress hormones. Stress itself, after all, is a silent enemy of the kidneys. When cortisol runs high, blood pressure rises, vessels constrict, and kidneys work overtime. By building in small rituals of calm, you indirectly ease their load. I'll never forget John, a 75-year-old former mechanic whose legs ached every night from both neuropathy and poor circulation. His sleep was broken, his mood was heavy, and his lab numbers were creeping the wrong way. At first, he scoffed when I suggested Epsom salt soaks. "Doc, I fixed carburetors, not spa tubs." But his wife set up a simple basin by his recliner. After 2 weeks of regular evening soaks, he admitted with a grin that his legs hurt less, his sleep stretched longer, and for the first time in months, he felt rested when he woke up. His creatinine didn't magically vanish, but his resilience returned. He was more willing to walk during the day, eat wisely, and keep up with his appointments. Sometimes what seems like a small comfort can unlock the motivation to pursue the bigger steps. Of course, there are cautions. For those with diabetes, especially if there are open wounds or foot ulcers, Epsom soaks are not recommended. Skin integrity must always be protected, and only pure, additive-free Epsom salt should be used. Skip the perfume varieties that can irritate the skin. But for many older adults, this gentle ritual can be a safe, affordable way to reduce stress and support circulation, which in turn helps kidneys by keeping blood vessels healthier. When you weave hydration and restorative rituals into your day, something remarkable happens. The kidneys, though small, begin to carry their burden with more ease. Energy flows more freely, blood pressure steadies, and the cloud of fatigue starts to lift. It's like oiling the gears of a machine. Suddenly, everything runs smoother, quieter, and with less strain. These habits don't replace medical care, but they empower you to participate in your healing every single day. That sense of agency, of knowing you're doing something tangible, is as important for the spirit as it is for the body. So now you know, the foods you choose and the habits you practice can either burden your kidneys or breathe new life into them. By reaching for cranberries, apples, and limes and steering clear of avocados, grapes, and starfruit, you protect your kidneys from silent harm. By sipping water steadily and indulging in a simple Epsom salt soak, you give them rest and renewal. Healing isn't about perfection. It's about small, steady choices that add up to freedom and vitality. You are never too old to take charge of your health. If this helped you, please like, comment, and subscribe.